Statewide Insurers Group gave us choices in our Medicare coverage. Check out their options to answer your insurance needs. The choice is yours.
At Statewide Insurers Group, we work with every client as an individual case. We try to find what's going to work for you and your needs.
We really do all the research. I like to say we do the nitty-gritty so you don't have to, so we can accommodate everything you need from start to finish.
At Statewide, we want to find the fit that works for you. You need to give us a call. We can do a life review, health insurance, and all of the above. And we're located at 880 Country Club Road, right here in Rocky Mount. And telephone number is 252-316-8166. We look forward to hearing from you.
Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc., First Class Realty, Triangle East, and Ward Specialty Pharmacy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Senior Living Today. Cheryl, you feel like we've done this once or twice
Yes,
before?
we have. We're ready for it.
Folks, if it appears that Cheryl and I are running around with our head on fire, hair on fire, whatever you want to say, annual enrollment has started, Cheryl.
Yes.
Now, of course, we know the 14th, 15th was Saturday, but it really kicked off Monday, yesterday. And folks, we've encouraged you to pick the phone up and call, and so many of you have. And those spaces are becoming limited.
Yep.
But as we talk sitting right here, Cheryl, it's time, if you're going to have a chance, to just decide what we want to do, to find out if the things are different. And, well, in fact, Cheryl, it's a good point. Things are different.
Yes,
We've had some
there's
things
some
right
changes
here.
have been made. Changes have been made.
And we're going to talk about that. Cheryl, who are our sponsors?
But the folks who make this all possible for us, we have Wires Inc. Mr. Brian West is the proprietor. And those are the boys who make your car sound better,
Yes, sir.
look prettier, and drive safer. So check them out and give them a call.
And folks, they've been telling us that you've gone out there and said, we saw
Yep.
y'all on Senior Living Today.
Yep.
We appreciate it. Yes, we do.
Ward Specialty Pharmacy, that's Patrick Ignacio is the owner, and they are what's called a compounding pharmacy. They make the prescription right there. They mix it up in a little jar, and then
Not
put it
like
in-
you have to go to the drugstore and buy it over the counter and say, here's your 30-day supply.
Yeah.
They can make it up for you.
They make it up for you. They've done things for me, for my spouse, for my dog. They took care of the whole tribe, man. So give them a call sometime. First Class Realty, Brett Hill. They're out in the Mills Complex. And they are wonderful people that can help you get through this red-hot real estate market, whether you're buying or selling. They are your go-to team.
And folks, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are saying, we know, Cheryl, interest rates are starting to climb. But Brett has informed us, people are still buying and selling.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean you have to take the first thing you see. Point being, give Brett a call. Find out what's going on in that market if you're interested in buying and selling here in the greater Nash County area. Cheryl, I'm going to kind of throw it to you, but folks, we said earlier, AEP has started. So many questions, Cheryl, as you know, and
Yep.
like I said, going to throw it to you, but we have some new things that actually came in the office today
Yep.
that we want to talk to you about. You're going to hear it first right here on Senior Living Today. But Cheryl, let's kick it off. What have you got for AEP as far as our listening audience and the ages of 65?
Well, last week we talked a good bit about just some general information about Medicare Parts A and B and how these things work. And we had a lot of feedback from that, and people were like, can you kind of go through some of those things again?
Sure.
Because it's a ton of information to try to absorb. So we're going to do some highlights tonight, go back over some things, and then towards the end there, we do have a couple of new bits of information we want to go over with you. These are things that one person said, well, some of the things y'all talk about, stuff that I wish I had known when I was turning
Oh,
65.
so true. Right before you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so here's some things to keep in mind. Who does have to enroll in Medicare at 65? Who has to do it? Here's your rundown. If you are on a retiree plan, you say you retired at age 61, 62, 63, and you're on a retiree plan, or on your spouse's retiree plan, then you have to go on Medicare when you turn 65.
Absolutely. Yes.
You have to sign up for it. Okay. If you're on a COBRA plan from an employer, you've got to go on
gotta leave it.
Medicare. If you're on an ACA plan, Affordable Care Act plan, you've got to go
Yes.
to Medicare at age 65. And here is a little different nuance where it gets a little tricky. If you're working in a company that's considered a small group, where they have 19 people or less on the payroll, then you have to leave that plan and go on to Medicare.
And what this does, folks, quite simply, it helps the employer, the people out there. Because if you're 65 and you've got health insurance, and there's a couple of ways you're going to stay on it. Let's say, Cheryl, they wanted to work to 67 and
Right.
stay. I know
Right.
you're going to touch on that, but that point of leaving, it helps the employer.
Yeah.
Because all of your big health carriers, and Cheryl, I'll throw this question at you. What's the highest price when you're at 65 on that group health plan?
Well, I can tell you this. Because this is I did this. I did this when I was 63, 65, 63, 64. I had a Affordable Care Act plan, and this little boy right here was paying $1,640 a month. That's right, sports fans, $1,640 a month for the privilege of having health insurance.
Now keep that in mind. That's what we're going to talk about, these large numbers, and you do have a way around it. But folks, if you don't do something and make a decision and we just sit on our hands, all of a sudden you get one of these pretty little white pieces of paper that says your premium has just doubled.
Yeah.
And that's why we're encouraging you. We're asking you, pick up the phone and call Statewide and get you an appointment. Please make sure your drug plan is going to be covering next year the drugs that you're currently taking right now. The question we had, you've heard me say this before, Mr. Braswell, do I pay for fuel at $5 a gallon? Not quite, or do I buy food for the family? Things have gotten tight, and that's why we're going to talk to you tonight about saving a bit of money. Cheryl?
Yeah. So, if you're on Social Security now, say you went on Social Security when you were 62 or just whatever that situation is, you're going to automatically be enrolled in Medicare. You're going to get your little red, white, and blue card in the mail. You don't have to do anything to get there. It's
Can I do a
automatic
quick on that?
situation. Go ahead.
A, hospital. B, anything in the hospital. Red, white, and blue card. Part A, Alpha. Part B, Bravo. Cheryl, don't they have to have that card before you can purchase any of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And we're going to get into that here in just a minute. Now, if you're not on Medicare, I'm sorry, if you're not in Social Security.
Correct. I'm with you.
It's been up too long today. If you're not in Social Security, then you've got to initiate the enrollment process to get yourself into Medicare.
You do.
So you've got to start that. And that's called, getting enrolled in your initial enrollment period. And that's a total of a 7-month period of time. It's 3 months before you turn 65, the month of your birth, and the 3 months afterwards. So you got 7 months to get this done. And it depends on, when you actually enroll during that 7-month period of time as to when your benefits start.
No question.
I won't get into that, but that has an effect on it. If you're working for a large employer group, and that's people that have more than 19 employees
Correct.
on payroll, if you like your health plan, you can stay on your health plan.
Yes, you can.
If you're still working there, say you're going to work till you're 68. If you like that plan, you're happy with it, you're satisfied with the benefits, and you've taken a look at Medicare and you think, this is a little bit better deal for me to stay where I am, you can do that.
Now, folks, we're doing that. There's one thing. They're going to ask you to get your Part A. They're going to ask, you have paid in, it's 40 quarters, is that correct, Cheryl? On
As
Part
long as
A?
you've been in there for 40 quarters.
40 quarters for that Part A. Now, why do they do that? Because B, medical, is what you currently have, what Mr. Brazel just said, that you're going to be keeping if you work to 67, 68, or 69. And we'll address when you get that Part B later. But that guaranteed and initial enrollment period is correct.
Okay. Now, also keep in mind, if you enroll too late, if you miss certain deadlines, you can have a penalty there. So that's why it's good to talk to somebody like an independent broker, statewide insurance group, because we work with a lot of different companies. We don't represent everybody, but we represent a bunch. And, we can give you different ideas. Different companies have different benefits that they may add on to the basics of Medicare coverage. And we can help you navigate your timeline so that you're doing it, in a timely fashion.
And there are some different prices on those companies, too.
Yeah. Huge difference in pricing. Huge
Folks,
range.
We say this all the time, and it sounds redundant, but it's something that we need. As you're sitting there watching us tonight, you need to be aware of. It's the plan that you need. It's not the idea of on TV, and honey, I like what he just said on TV, and I buy it. And all of a sudden, we have a problem. Who do I call? That is a problem.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with somebody local, you pick up the phone, say, Mr. Brazel, Cheryl, I need an appointment. I got a problem here. This medical bill was not paid.
Right.
And Cheryl walks you through it.
Yeah.
But dealing outside of a local situation, it creates major, major problems.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't believe us until it actually happens to you. Sure.
We don't care about our insurance until we need it.
Oh, it's true. True.
I actually had a client today before we came over here that had an issue with their billing, and when I was able to sit down with him and look through the bills, I was able to show him, here's what's going on, and you're covered. You don't have a problem here.
It's hard to put a price on peace of mind after you've been in the
Yes.
hospital for 5 or 6, 7,
Yes.
10 days, and you come home and you have this enormous bill link, and you look at your spouse and say, honey, why I thought the insurance was. Call Cheryl.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
And you have two basic systems to work with when you go on Medicare, and we're going to do kind of a little bit of highlights on them. You've got a Medicare supplement system, and you've got a Medicare Advantage system. Two major choices that you can make, and one's not right and one's not wrong. One's not better than the other. It depends on your situation and what you need.
And how do they know that situation? And I know it sounds like I'm just driving this point home. When you sit down across from a broker like Cheryl, like Devin, like all the ones in the office, Jamie, etc., myself, and you start putting out the definitions of what you need,
Right.
and Mr. Brazel, I need this covered, I need this covered. I don't take a lot of medication, so do I need a drug plan? Is it better with the Medicare Advantage that incorporates a drug plan, or do I buy one separate? That's what Mr. Brazel does in guiding you with over 40 years of experience, total, as we're looking. The company has totally over 131 years of experience with all of the adults that we have in there. Sure.
Yes, sir. So Medicare A and B, they pay very well, pay 80%. You've got a 20% exposure. So you have a Medicare supplement that helps to fill the gaps.
Yes, it does.
That you've got in those programs. When you go to your doctor, if you're on a Medicare supplement plan, you give them your red, white, and blue card and your card from your insurance company. It could, if it's whoever, Aetna, Mutual of Omaha, Humana, whoever it is. You give them their card and your red, white, and blue card. Medicare pays first, and then your Medicare supplement plan, fills in those gaps. And of course, if you're using Medicare supplement and original Medicare A and B, you've got to have a separate prescription drug plan.
Yes, you do.
And you've got to remember this: your drug plan pays for the medications, the prescriptions that you take at home. In other words, that you administer yourself. If you give yourself some type of a shot or a tablet, whatever it is, these are things that you do yourself, because some of the medications you get are administered by your physician at his office.
Correct.
Or in a hospital setting. And those things are covered under Part B
Part B, Bravo.
of Medicare.
Yes.
So your prescriptions, just pertains to what you self-administer at home.
And that's an important point, folks. We get a lot of calls on that. Why do I have this drug bill when I was in the hospital for X amount of days? And there's your answer, what
Right.
Mr. Brazel was just
Right.
talking about. It does pay to have somebody to help you through the quagmire of dealing with Medicare. And it's a total different animal from health insurance that
Mm-hmm. It
you've
is.
been on up until age,
It is.
well, let's pick what you said, 62 to 65. And then all of a sudden you're jumping into the Medicare federal world, and it's a whole different animal.
Do we need to take a break here, brother?
Gosh, it's already 16 after. Folks, I'm sorry, the producer's hollering at us. We're having way too much fun up here, but it is fun to enlighten you on what's going on. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back and show you these new things that are coming in. Actually came in the office today. We'll see you right after the break. Come back. See you soon.
Statewide Insurers Group gave us choices in our Medicare coverage. Check out their options to answer your insurance needs. The choice is yours.
At Statewide Insurance Group, we work with every client as an individual case. We try to find what's going to work for you and your needs.
We really do all the research. I like to say we do the nitty gritty so you don't have to, so we can accommodate everything you need from start to finish.
At Statewide, we want to find the fit that works for you. You need to give us a call. We can do a life review, health insurance, and all of the above. And we're located at 880 Country Club Road, right here in Rocky Mount. And telephone number is 252-316-8166. We look forward to hearing from you.
Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc., First Class Realty, Triangle East, and Ward Specialty Pharmacy.
Hey folks, welcome back. Quickest 60 seconds on TV it is, but we're going to get right back to it because time is short. Cheryl was telling you a little bit about the prescription drug plans, the cans, the do's, the don'ts. Cheryl, why don't you pick it up right there, sir?
Sure. And as I mentioned, this prescription drug plans takes care of the medication that you take at home, the things that you take for yourself. Usually, in an area, there will be 15 to 35 prescription plans that are available in your area to pick from. And what I love about the individual standalone prescription drug plans is you can literally customize the plan that you need to take care of your situation. And I had 4 people in today just specifically to update their drug plans, and it was like, well, this is it's been working great. I got no problems. It's cost me X number of dollars to get my prescription. I said, okay, but have you looked at what's coming up next year?
Exactly.
As I said, it can change. It may not cover any of your drugs on January 1. So I said, let me do that.
And folks, as he's talking, remember, $7 on the low end for a complete drug plan, $7 and some change. Give me a room for a quarter. Don't call in and say I'm wrong. $7 and change, all the way up to $75.
Right.
And you have, you said 35 plans, somewhere in that ballpark?
15 to 35 plans, usually.
Folks, I can't even do it. If you got 35 plans to choose from, you need somebody to sit across, put it in the computer, what you are taking, and see what is available to do what? Fit your need at the proper cost. You do not need to pay for a drug plan that you do not utilize.
Yeah.
Sure.
Amen. And also, we can drill down to the point of telling you what different drugstores in this county are going to pay for those prescriptions. And there is a difference. It does vary literally from one drugstore to the next as to what your out-of-pocket costs may be. So please let us give you some help with that. It costs you nothing to find out, and we're pretty accurate.
Yes.
We're pretty good at that.
It's something about
Pretty
dealing
good at
about
that.
local, that you just get to come down the road, talk to the local broker, which is, of course, ourselves. But it is something that you find peace of mind. And in the times that we're living in right now, It's difficult, and choices have to be made. Difficult choices, as you know. I'm not telling you anything. Cheryl and I, with our families, have to do it every day. And that's why we're on with Senior Living Today by Statewide Insurance Group right here in Rocky Mount.
Okay, we talked about the Medicare supplements, prescription drug plans. Let's talk about the other side choice that you have, and that's with a Medicare Advantage plan. It's a little different animal than the Medicare supplement. It's a very different animal. Again, not right or wrong, it just depends on your situation. With the Medicare Advantage plan, a private company is managing your A and B coverage.
Yes.
In a nutshell. And with the Medicare Advantage plans, this is where you have the possibility of having some dental coverage offered, some vision coverage, maybe help with hearing aids. You know, these are other things that are added into the coverage. And you see a lot of these plans on TV that they'll say there's no premium, and I always get the question, how do they do that? And you know, it's works this way. Medicare contracts with this private company, and they give them, and it amounts to about $1,000 a month per person to manage that individual's Medicare account.
Yes.
And if you don't go to the doctors very much and you're a real healthy person, well, you know, they make a lot, you know, they make money off of it. But if you have a situation, I mean, you know, I had some unexpected surgery back in August.
You did?
And, you know, so far, my bills are totaling like about $160,000. Well, they didn't make any money off me for the last 2 or 3 months.
No, they did not. But the unique part was, by Cheryl listening to his own, those bills are being paid. It's not coming out of his and his pretty wife Jane's purse, pocketbook at the house. That's the important part of wanting to know exactly, do I buy this plan, Mr. Brazel, or do I buy this plan?
Yeah. And, you know, like I said, Medicare gives the private company about $1,000 a month. And by law, they have to spend at least 85% of that money on that individual's health care.
That's correct.
Is what they have to do. And of course, then, you know, the company, they're out here, they're setting up networks of doctors and hospitals and clinics that will use their particular plan. Now, you know, things change all along, and Medicare Advantage plans, there are several of them out there now that literally have national networks.
They do.
So you really don't have to be too concerned about where you're going, you know, vacation, things like that. You know, you should be able to have coverage.
Cheryl, quick question as you go to the next subject line there. You know, when you're looking at it, folks, and I'm going to throw this to you on TV as well as Cheryl sitting right here. On TV, they make it just sound so special that it's the greatest thing since homemade soap, and all of a sudden we buy into that, and then we have to utilize it, Cheryl. I'm just going to pick on Joey up in the Roanoke Rapids office, and as you know, Statewide Insurance has multiple offices. Well, we were up there Monday, had 3 come in. Folks, the 3 that came in on top of the others, but these 3 in particular. Joey, I wish I'd have listened to you in the beginning. Why is that? Because I bought off of the TV. I can't get any help. I'm out of network. It's costing me like crazy. Now, this annual enrollment period from October 15th to December 7th, is it true what TV is telling me? I can leave this plan and come back on what I had with you a couple of years back, which is called Original Medicare? Folks, I looked at them and said, yes, let's sit down and see if we qualify. There are some health questions we had to go through. We sent the applications in, and we're waiting for it to come back. But unfortunately, when you go down that path and you're not certain what you're purchasing off of TV, and there are some sweet deals on there, I'm not going to say anything wrong, no, all positive. You just want to make sure it fits your need.
The other thing I want you to understand also with Medicare Advantage plans, that you have that zero copay in a lot of cases, but you do have co-insurance and copays with your procedures.
Yes, you do.
And, you know, they're not horrendous things, but it's, you know, you need to be aware of this. I'll give you some examples. Like when you go in, if you went into the hospital, you may have a daily copay in the hospital, you know, $300 to $400 a day for, 3 to 5 days.
Now remember,
depending
this
on
is
your
Medicare
plan.
Advantage. Please
Right,
don't get it
Medicare
confused
Advantage.
with original Medicare. This
Yeah.
is Medicare.
You take an MRI, your copay could be $70 to $350. I had MRI in August, and my copay literally was $70.
Okay.
Was what it was for that particular incident. Cataract surgery, copay might be $250 to $500 per eye. Would be your co-insurance pay there. And depending on your plan, you can have a maximum out of pocket for that year of $3,500 to $7,000, just depending on your plan.
And for those that just walked in the room, we are talking about Medicare Advantage plans. We are not talking about original, I call it the alphabet soup, A through N, none of those, F and G and all of the above. This is a Medicare Advantage plan, what Mr. Brazel is explaining right now.
Yeah. Now, we're just about to run out of time, y'all.
We have.
So-
I want to get to this
Yeah,
last little
yeah,
bit
yeah, I
beforehand.
wanna
'cause
touch
it's
on that.
6:26. May I start?
Yes, sir.
Folks, we talked about the alphabet soup, original Medicare. So I'm going to leave Cheryl's Medicare Advantage here and try to throw this out in just a couple of minutes. So please stay with me. And if you've got questions after we go off air, feel free to call Statewide Insurers right here. The telephone number's on the screen, 316-8166. What I'm coming with you on is a plan G as in girl. And I see a lot of the head shaking. Well, honey, we've already got that. We've already got that plan. Yes, we do. Okay, fine. This is called a high deductible plan G. Now, stay with me. Cheryl, I think it has a $2,500 deductible. Now, you say, my gosh, that's $2,500 deductible. I only have a $233 deductible with my plan G that I currently actually bought from you guys. You're correct. What's the difference in these two plans? One, you're paying over $200 a month for in the 70-plus range. Am I close on that?
Yeah, once our seniors hit 70 years of age and older, your premiums on your Medicare supplement are going to go up. Just a fact of life. It's going to happen. I had an older gentleman I spoke with on Saturday, and he says, well, my premium's going to $425 a month starting in January. And I said, okie dokie, here's what we need to talk about.
Yes.
And with a high deductible plan G, again, it's for those people who are paying more than $200, $250 a month for your Medicare
And
premium.
Cheryl, the price of this, stay right on target. If you're paying $250, $300, that's 3 times 12, $3,600 a year. Your deductible's $2,500. Okay, you just looked at your spouse and said, I'm paying $180 for Plan G. Why would I want to look at this? Cheryl, what's the price of a high deductible plan? Ballpark range?
Ballpark range, $50 to $60.
So
a
think
month.
about that.
Yeah.
50 to 60 bucks a month. Okay. I'm 5 times 12. Looks like I'm about $600 a year.
Right.
All right. As opposed to all of the money that I'm putting out, what Cheryl said, $200. You know what you're paying. $250, $275. Multiply that times 12, and you've already met your deductible of $2,500, and there's no real reason to sit back and say, well, I'm just going to hold on to it a while longer. Call Mr. Brazel.
Yeah.
Make those changes. We'll talk more about this in the coming weeks because this plan is going to give you money to put in other situations to help you and your family if we are hospitalized. Cheryl, I'm going to let you kind of bring us to a close. It's 6:29. Folks, I'm going to tell you, I'll come back and say goodnight, but you've been fabulous. We just threw a lot of stuff at you. My gosh, Cheryl.
Bottom line, you can work with anybody you want to.
Yes.
Your big choices. You can work with a broker that represents a company.
What they call a captive agent.
A captive agent.
He's got one company.
He's got one company, and he's going to be very knowledgeable about that information. But it's just one company. You can work with independent brokers who represent multiple companies. Don't represent everybody, but represent multiple companies. Can give you a wider range of information.
And that's like Statewide, is that correct?
That's where we are at Statewide. We have several people. We have over 100 years experience in-house in this business. And, our folks have seen a lot of different things, a lot of unusual situations, and we're usually able to track down what we need to find out for that person.
Folks, because of you and this show and Cheryl's local representation here in Nash County, being a local. It's because of you that the word's getting out.
Yep.
And it's an honor to serve you. Well, Cheryl, I'm going to wrap it up here. We
Yep.
thank our sponsors. We thank you, most importantly, because we couldn't do it without you. I think it's 20 plus coming up next couple days. Take a towel or something, go out and cover those plants.
Yeah.
We don't want them, Find a good church, as we always say. You know you go with the Lord. Senior Living Today is brought to you by some good people, and we show it to a lot of great people as we're looking at you right now. From Cheryl and myself, the folks at Statewide, Godspeed, have a blessed night. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, folks.